Welcome once again to Matt Tech TV. In this episode, we're going to be learning how to use some of the more advanced features of Google Drive's spreadsheet tool, including data formatting, formulas, and making charts and graphs using the spreadsheet tool. Alright, to get started, I've already opened up the spreadsheet that we created in the last lesson. Alright, the first thing that we're going to look at is how you can format the data that's entered into a cell to meet different needs. For example, right now you can see that I've got all this data in here for the scoring average for each player. And I'm going to click and drag to highlight those cells because I'm going to show you some of the things that I could do with that data. If I go up here to Format and then go down to the very first choice, which is Number, you can see several options I have. For example, I can say, let's take that out to the second decimal point. I click that, and you can see it adds a 0. I could also say, you know what, I'd rather have that as a rounded number, and it'll just round it off to the whole number. I can always go back to normal if I just want what I originally entered. But notice there's several other choices. I have currency. I can do different types of options with dollars and cents. I can do percents. I can express a number as a rounded percent as opposed to, for example, a decimal. I can format something as a date, time, etc. And we'll show you how the date works in just a moment. Here's some more different formats that you've got, dates and times. Or I can do just plain text. Now that's important because what it does is it will treat a number as text instead of a number, which that allows you more flexibility in terms of aligning it left, aligning it right, or centered, and things like that. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a column here for birth date. And I'm going to format these cells here so that when I enter a date of birth, it enters that data in a particular way. For example, I could do a specific date. Maybe I want the date to look like this with dashes. Okay, so I'm going to click that. So if I enter this and I say July 3rd, 1968, hit enter, you notice it changes it to the format that I told it to. Okay, so that's some ways that you can format data to fit a specific type that you need for your spreadsheet. Alright, I'm going to delete that data real quickly because I'm not going to need it. Alright, another thing that I can do is I can use a tool in Spreadsheet called sorting and filtering. So, for example, I can rearrange the order of these. Maybe I want to order my players by their scoring average or by their height, or alphabetically by name. Well, I can do that really easily. Now, first of all, understand that Google Spreadsheet acts a little differently than Microsoft Excel. In Microsoft Excel, I could simply click this column, tell it I wanted to sort by this column. Microsoft Excel recognizes that there's a column header here, and it sorts them accordingly, and it extends that sort out to all of these other columns. The problem in Google Spreadsheets is if I do the same thing, if I click the Sort tool, if I go to Data and say Sort It, you notice it doesn't recognize the fact that I've got a column header. So there's a little bit of a trick you have to do here. What you have to do is you have to select all your data. If you want it to sort everything, if you only want it to sort one column but not worry about the others, then just select that column. But I'm going to select all my data, then I'm going to go to Data and I'm going to say Sort Range. Now in this case, maybe I want it to sort by average. Well, first thing I need to do is tell it that I have a header row, so don't sort that. Then I'm going to say I want you to sort by average. And then I'm going to click Sort. Now you can see I've got each of the players sorted by their scoring average. Okay? So that's the basics of how to use the Sort tool. Another tool that exists in here in your data tool is the Filter tool. And if I click the Filter tool, this allows me to pick only certain players. For example, if I only want the girls. So I'm going to take off Barney, Bam Bam, and Fred, and now I'm only showing the girls. Okay? I can also easily come up here and turn off the filter tool by just going to Data and saying Turn Off Filter, and now all my players are back. Notice it never deleted the data, it just filters who you see. Alright, the next thing that we're going to look at is how you can use formulas. Now, formulas are the biggest advantage to putting data into a spreadsheet. They allow mathematical functions to be automatically carried out on data that's already in the spreadsheet or data that's added to the spreadsheet later. So let me just show you a couple of examples. We're not going to get into all of the formulas because that would be a much longer video and a much more painful lesson. Let's say that, for example, I want to get the average height of my team. Well, I can simply, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say, I'm going to create a row called average. And then here under height, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click where I have this little sigma where it says functions. And you notice I have 5 functions already here. I have sum, average, count, maximum, and minimum. I'm going to select average. And then I'm going to click and drag to tell it which cells I want it to average. I hit enter with my keyboard after that, and it gives me my average. Now you notice my average, by the way, is a really big decimal. How do I fix that? Well, I can simply select it. I can go up here to format number, and I can tell it I want it to be a 2 decimal rounded number or a custom decimal. I'm going to say 2 decimals, and it'll give me a nice clean average there. All right. Again, notice that there are several other options here. Maybe I want a sum of all their jersey numbers. I don't know why I'd want that, but maybe I do. I can come here and say sum. I can click and drag and select all these, and it will add up all of their jersey numbers. Also notice that under here, under more functions, if you click that, it will take you to a Google support page that lists all the possible functions. And there are dozens upon dozens of possible functions in here, many of which I couldn't tell you what they do. But there's functions that you can select ones that are for like accounting or higher level mathematics, engineering, databases, things like that, and see different types of functions. And what you have to do with these is you actually have to, it tells you the syntax, and you would actually have to type them in. Now in a spreadsheet, if you want to manually type in a function, for example, if I want an average of these averages, I can come in here and I can type equals, and that tells my spreadsheet I'm going to do a function. Then I can type average. I can open my parentheses, I can do the click and drag over those cells, and then I can close my parentheses, and it will give me the average of those cells. And again, I'm going to round that decimal because that is way too large. All right. So that's the basics. Notice if I click on any of these, you can see there's my formula. I can come in here and edit it if I need to. If I need to add more cells, etc., etc. That's a pretty simple process to do. All right, that's the basics with formulas. The last thing that we're going to look at is how you can create basic charts and graphs on this using your spreadsheet tool. What I want to do is I want to graph the average scoring output of each player. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click the graph tool. You notice it looks like a little bar graph. I'm going to insert chart is what it says. And then I need to select a range of data. All I have to do, I can manually type it in if I'd like by simply entering the cells that are included. For example, I could go from C2 to C7, or if I click here, it'll allow me actually to click and drag and highlight those cells. Notice I still get the same data, and I click OK. The next thing I need to do is actually pick which type of chart I want. I'm going to pick this bar chart because that looks good with this particular type of data. And then I simply click Insert. Charts can be edited. They can also, you can change the fonts on the charts. You can change the labels on the charts. Average points. Very easily. You can actually change the colors, the fill colors, and things like that of your bars, etc. All right, so that's the basics with that. The other thing that you can do is you can actually rearrange by clicking and dragging and moving that to different places on your spreadsheet. In this lesson, what we've covered is how to format different data types, how to sort and filter, how to just do the basic formulas. We didn't get into that a great deal, and just how to create a really simple graph using part of the data on our table. That's it for this one. In our next series of lessons, we're actually going to look at Google's tool, presentation tool, which is much like PowerPoint in Microsoft Office.